All right, what do we got going on today? It's cold and snowy out there. Winter's here, and I've got time to do some things, some learning things I want to learn. I'll start by saying I'm not a machinist. I had to review grade 6 math to subtract, divide, multiply decimals. It's been a long time since I looked at any of that stuff. Over the years, I've been accumulating a few tools I like to measure and learn. I want to learn, I'm curious. I'm no expert, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. This is an old block that I have, and I want to learn on it. I want to take a few measurements. I'm going to try and figure out the bore was. Has it been bored over? How much is it worn now? Is it rebuildable? Just so that when I get into other engines, I've got some, baseline skills learned. Now this block is a Canadian model. It's a 25-inch long block. It's got a serial number stamped right here in the corner, and it says it's a D32. So I happen to have a manual from Canadian Dodges, and it covers model D32, so that's fantastic. When I go into the manual here, it tells me that a D32 engine should have a 3 3/8 bore by 4 1/16 inch stroke, and that should be a 218.06 cubic inch engine. So 3 3/8 as a decimal. You're going to figure out the decimal of the bore here. I took the calculator, I don't have it here. 3/8 is 3.380. So, if it was stock, 3.380. Now what tools have I got here? I got a telescoping gauge set. These are spring-loaded gauges. You just open them up and they snap open. That's great for measuring bores. This one happens to be from 2 1/8. This one covers 2 1/8 to 3 1/2 inch bore, so that's going to fit in my cylinder. I've got a set of micrometers. This one is from 3 to 4 inch. They're all different sizes. They travel about 1 inch here on this at the anvil here. So this one covers some 3 to 4 inch. I'm going to use that. And that's my bore gauge set. I'm going to get into that later. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm still trying to learn what the bore is here. So I'll move the camera closer and show you what I'm going to do. All right, so we're back. One thing I wanted to let you know is that ideally this block surface would be perfectly square and straight. Because when you're putting your T-gauge in, you're trying to keep it vertical and square. So pay attention to that. When your engine is sitting on one of these engine stands, quite often this end of it over here sits a little bit lower. It sits on an angle. It's just the design of the stand. It helps just center the load on the wheels. So I've blocked up the rear two wheels just a little bit with some wood to help level this off. It's not perfectly level, but for the purposes of this video, it'll be fine. So we know our stock bore is 3.380. We've got our glasses on. For those of us that are getting gray, we need our glasses, and we got our machinist jacket on, so we're ready to go. All right, so I released this T-gauge lock here. It's got to thread it in. Put it down in the bore. I'm going to go about a third of the way down. Tighten it up. So that's our measurement. Now we've got our caliper here. 3 to 4 inch caliper. You can rest it against your body and use your hand like that to hold it in place. Seems to work pretty well. I've seen some other guys do it. They're pretty dang good at it. All right. The measurement I get on the caliper is telling me the bore here. I got 3, because it's 0 to 3, so it's 3 inch. And I got 4, 3.414, 3.4149. 3.4149. So 3.380 is stock bore, right? 3 3/8. I'm gonna take another measurement and just show you how much these things can vary. We're kind of getting in the ballpark here of measuring here. This is not that accurate. I'm sure there's better tools for this. This gets us close. So I'm gonna take another measurement. So last time I got 3.4149. This time, let's see what we get here. Oh, I got 3.420. So they're 5 thou over. I'm gonna measure it again. About a third of the way down. I mean, it sounds like it's a big number, but if you look at what 2 or 3 or 4 thou looks like, man, that's a very small amount. I'll show you that visually in a second. Okay, third measurement. 3.405. Yeah, no, that's not working. See, you gotta practice. I'm sure there are people that are better at this than me. I know there are. But I'm just a guy at home with a few tools who's curious. Try this again. I like that number. 3.414. 3.4140. So I've gotten two measurements that are pretty close. How many times did I just measure? 5? First one I got 3.4149. This one I got 3.4140. We could average that if we wanted to. We call it 3.4145. It's the average of two close measurements. 3.4145. So stock bore. Now this is my calculator comes in handy here. 3 3/8 is 3.380, and we've got 3.4145. The difference from stock bore to what I just measured is 34.5 thousandths of an inch larger. 34.5 thou. So there's probably 4.5 thou worth of wear in a cylinder. We know this engine was tired and old. 30 thou. Now is kind of a good big number that's been probably bored over from stock. So I have a feeling that we're 30 thou over when it was last rebuilt, plus about 4.5 thou worth of wear right now. So if we go 30 thou is 0.030. If we take our stock bore is 3.380 plus 30 thou, 3.380 plus 0.030 is 3.41 inches. So this block, brand new, last time it was rebuilt, bored 30 over, would have come in at 3.410 inches. I just measured 3.4145. So 4.5 thousandths of an inch of wear, cylinder wear. Now, like I said, there's room for error. I'm transferring numbers, I'm snapping T gauges in there, and I'm transferring it over. There's definitely room for error. There's probably a better tool. I don't have it, but I'm getting close. I did prep the cylinder. I washed it and I degreased it and I wiped down the cylinders with some WD-40 just so it didn't rust. So let's just see if we can find this. This micrometer is 0 to 1 inch, and every little line on here is 1 thou. So I'm going to go to 4.5 thou to show you what that looks like. If we can see it, that's about 4.5 thou on the gauge. Right there. So we think this cylinder's probably worn 4.5 thou. Now, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. This is such a small amount. I'll try and get behind it here. I'm almost gonna hold it to a light. And you see that little gap there? Get to the wall there, it's brighter. Look at that. Man, that's small. 4.5 thou. That's how much that cylinder has worn. Now that's one cylinder. So we learned a couple things. We learned that this stock 218 Canadian built engine was 3 3/8 when it was new. It's now 30 thou over. So it should be rebuildable again if I wanted to. You could bore these over 50, 60 thou, I think. I saw kits 40 thou. If I was to rebuild this, I'd like to try and get away with going to a 40 thou number maybe, or 50 thou over. Clean it up probably, but that's where you take it to a machine shop and you let them tell you. But you know, the next step would be, okay, so we know we're 30 thou over. You know, you probably boil this and then maybe Magnaflux check it for any cracking. There's no cracking in it, then it's worth rebuilding, probably. Crank should be good as well. That's another, the crank's over in the corner. I'm not gonna drive it out today. So there you go, I got a 30 thou over engine that needs to be rebuilt if I want it. It's a spare engine. This is my learning, this is my lab, I'm in my lab coat. And the next step I wanna do is I wanna learn how to use this bore gauge. This will show me cylinder taper and at a round. And I'll get to that in a minute. Let's just talk about the piston going up and down inside the engine there. You know what, I'm gonna grab a piston, give me a second. I know I got some pistons over here. This is what came out of this engine when I tore it apart. And these look to be original Mopar, I think, connecting rods. So, the cylinder sits in here like this and goes up and down this way. Every time it goes down, it goes like this. When it fires, it comes back up. The connecting rod is kind of doing this. It's pivoting here on the piston pin. When the cylinder fires and this wants to go down, it puts a thrust load over here on this side of the engine. So when this is going down, you get thrust forces, piston rings on this side, and then over here when it comes back up, you can get a little bit. The majority of it is when it fires, depending on the rotation of the engine. I don't know if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. When it goes down after it fires, that's where the majority of your thrust wear is going to be. So I believe, and I know there's people out there a lot smarter than me, because I'm learning, that you're generally going to have a little bit more wear on the thrust side of the cylinder than in a line here. You're going to get it on the side when it fires. It's the right side or the left side, whatever. We're going to get to that. We're going to check. That's out around. It becomes oval shaped as it wears more on the sides. So this side should be almost perfectly round. This side may be a little bit slightly oval. And there's a spec in the manual there that I have. I'm just going to grab a rag and wipe my hands down. And in the shop manual, it actually tells us the spec that you're allowed to be out around on one of these engines. If you happen to have a service manual for your engine, pretty awesome little book. Highly recommend it. Cylinders. Maximum allowable out of round is 2 thou. That's not much. You saw that tiny little gap, 4.5 thou. Half that again. 2 thou. Maximum allowable taper. Taper would be the cylinder may wear more at the top than the bottom, or vice versa. Maybe, yeah, it would be worn more at the top maybe, and it tapers down. An exaggerated V shape, that would be taper. The maximum amount of taper you're allowed to have in this cylinder is 1.5 thousandths of an inch. So, is it out around? Is it tapered? That'll be my next step, is get that bore gauge set up, learn how to use it. I'll check and see how out around it is. I'm only doing this to learn, because I want to know. But right now, if I was saying this is a machine shop to be rebuilt, why would I care if it's out around or if it's out of taper? Because it's going to go get rebuilt. But let's just say later this winter, I get into the engine in my 38 Plymouth here. I take the cylinder head off and I pull the pistons out, maybe to hone them and just re-ring it. If I do that, I might want to know if the engine is out of round or what the taper would be. So that's a good thing to know. Okay, well, this is beyond the spec of out of round or out of taper. It's going to burn oil even if I re-ring it. It might be sealed up for a little while, and then it's going to start burning oil again, if that's the case. So that's a good skill, I think, to have, to understand your engine condition, so that when you do get into an engine, you decide you're maybe going to do an in-frame or a partial refresh, maybe some, like I said, glaze up the cylinders and new piston rings or something like that. My goal is to understand how far out of round it is and the taper, so I can decide if I got a good engine or not. So I'll get into that next. All right, so that video was probably long enough. By the time I edit it, my computer just about has a heart attack when I've got 15 minutes worth of video to edit. It's getting old, so like me. I'll probably feature another video next time I come on and upload a video on my bore gauge, how to use it. I'm not going to edit this video. So, in summary, that was fun. I had fun measuring, learning, and feeling pretty confident about what I know about this now. I guess if the next step might be to look at engine oversized piston and kits that are available, piston rings and pistons. There's a couple sites. I'm not going to endorse anyone because I'm not getting paid to endorse anybody's parts. Nor have I bought any yet, so how can I endorse a product? But for reference, I might go onto the Eggy Machine Shop site and just look and see the different size, oversized pistons that they make, what that costs. It's not cheap to machine an engine. You know, even if you rebuild it yourself, you know, you're gonna spend, you know, whatever, a couple of grand on all the parts, I guess. Machining is expensive. Turning a crankshaft is expensive. Boring this out, regrinding the valves, and you can do it. You can do valve seats yourself. I've done it, but if you're gonna go to the machine shop, you know, you might as well do it. I guess that's why a lot of people, you know, think it's pretty attractive to go to like a small block Chevy engine, and they throw them in their old 40s Mopars. I don't like it. It just turns me off. But you could probably rebuild a short block Chevy 350 engine for, I don't know, considerably less. Maybe 60% of the price of rebuilding this old flathead. I don't know. I'd like to know. If somebody knows that, make a comment. 6 cylinders, you know, let's just say you budget. By the time you're all said and done, bought all your parts, done all your machining, rebuilt it. You're not going to get it done for $500 a hole, which is $3 grand. I think it's going to be more than that. So whatever you guys think, let me know on a cost, or make comments so others can get a cost, because I have not rebuilt one of these yet, and I hear they can be pretty pricey. But they're cool old engines, and they're tough, they're strong, they got good torque. I think it's worth rebuilding and putting them back in. That's just me. All right, till next time. There you go. There's my Shade Tree Mechanic home hack measuring 101 on an old block. We're going to decide where we're going to go from here. Going to go do a bunch more reading, a bunch more research, and talk to some people, get everyone's opinion, and figure out where I'm going to go next. Have a good one. Oh, before I go, over here in the left corner of the video, there's a little picture, cartoon image of a guy that's balding. Might resemble me. Click that. That would be where you would subscribe. I'd appreciate if you subscribe. I need it.